This unsettling footage was posted to TikTok by a user named Jess Daly. At roughly 3 in the morning, her Ring doorbell spontaneously activated and began recording her dark, apparently empty front yard. Nobody comes to the door and the street outside seems completely still. Yet in the final few seconds, something strange materializes near the hedgerow. Pay close attention to what unfolds. A dim, child-sized shape can be spotted moving from right to left along the hedge at the property's edge. The figure looks almost see-through, with no distinguishable facial features or clothing details, and after moving a short distance, it disappears around the side of the house. It's worth noting that night vision technology can cause a regular person or even an animal to look ghostly and semi-transparent due to motion blur and the camera's slow exposure settings. Still, the question remains, who or what was wandering alongside Jess's home in the dead of night? Was it simply someone cutting through the shadows, or did her doorbell camera catch something far more difficult to explain? A woman uploaded a clip to her profile that was completely out of step with the kind of content she typically posts. It didn't take long before the footage had thousands of people hooked. According to her, the images were captured by security cameras inside a factory at around 4:45 in the morning, at a time when only a handful of guards remained on site. See for yourself what those cameras picked up that night. Toward the upper portion of the frame, a small, semi-transparent figure abruptly materializes and drifts across the space from one end to the other. What really catches your attention is how it appears to glide through the air with absolutely no motion, resembling a human walking. Factory workers have reportedly said that unsettling incidents at that location go back well before this video ever came to light. Some viewers argue the figure might be nothing more than a reflection, an insect passing close to the lens, or some kind of glitch in the recording. Others are convinced it represents a spirit that, for whatever reason, has never left that building. So what do you think is really showing up in that footage? Drop your theories down in the comments. Peculiar scene unfolds in this footage showing a man seated cross-legged on the ground with a number of unusual items arranged around him. Nobody ever clarifies what these objects are for, though a large portion of viewers are convinced he was conducting some sort of ritual. At a certain moment, he dips his hand into a small vessel containing flowers and then points it in the direction of a blue door nearby. The entire mood of the scene shifts the instant he does this. What the camera captures next is a sudden, ear-splitting blast from behind that blue door, forceful enough to leave it visibly damaged. The sound hits like a shockwave, and it's the kind of thing that gets under your skin. Down in the comments, people wasted no time throwing out their own explanations. A number of them are convinced this ties back to black magic being practiced somewhere inside the home. Others are pointing to a Banaspati manifestation as the culprit, while a more skeptical crowd insists it was nothing more than a gas cylinder going off. So where do you stand about what do you think is really going on here? Woman picked up an old cabin in Oregon at a surprisingly low price, in spite of the unsettling history attached to it. The property had previously been owned by a female schoolteacher who passed away from a mysterious illness. And ever since then, locals have reported hearing sobbing from inside the cabin after dark, or catching glimpses of a shadowy silhouette out on the balcony. Unbothered by any of that, the new owner had no time for superstition and went through with the deal. But when she showed up to start renovations and began filming, things took a strange turn. Her young toddler kept directing conversation towards someone no one else could see, and the family dog fixated intensely on bare, empty corners of the room, as though tracking an unfamiliar presence. Later, going back through her footage, she noticed something so chilling it stopped her cold.
Something moving at the door. The thing is, that door in there is really still. something hanging there. Fucking what the fuck is that? It's gotta be something. What the fuck? It just fucking what the fuck? What the fuck?
A dark, shapeless figure seems to drift behind an upstairs door, then vanishes just as quickly as it appeared. Too shaken to go up and check it out, she stays downstairs for the rest of the night. A couple of days later, she returns to the cabin and posts a follow-up, walking viewers through the exact spot where the figure was seen and offering a more detailed look at the interior.
Here is the stairwell, okay, that you see. There's the porch. And here is the doorway in question that, like, the notorious doorway that had whatever. Look at these are like notes still that from Emily, the daughter, and these are from the lady who died here. And then oh, I hate it in here. I mean, it gets even creepier once you go downstairs. I'm not even going down. Well, I said I'd do a walkthrough. I'm not going down this way. I'll show you. Yeah. Of course, literally it's like fairly hanging on. There's downstairs. I do not even want to. I mean, I'll go down there, but here's the downstairs, which sort of creeps me out the most. However, I mean, during the day it's not as bad, and especially if there's people here, I feel fine. It's like I'm totally fine as long as there's people here. But when it's just me, and when it's especially when it's starting to get dark out, no, forget it. I'm not. I mean, look at all this paperwork, all these papers, and look at the shape of this place. I mean, fuck, I got my work cut out for me. Nice big fireplace with an insert in there. Yeah. This is the creepiest part down here. There's the freezer that's got, like, apparently still got meat in there. I'm not looking in there. A friend of mine came and cleared out the way over here so that just so we could walk in. I mean, 'cause it was piled up to, like, I mean, it was piled up like a good 3-4 feet. Sort of like back there, but even, I think, higher. Yeah, so, and then here's the stairs that go up. There's the pantry. It's so fucking dark as hell. Fuck that shit. Okay. And back there, it looks like they tried, I don't know, like it was just like that, whatever wall right there behind the shelf. On the other side of it, it's just shelves. And
There are no curtains, no hanging objects, nothing near that door that could reasonably account for what appeared on camera. The cabin itself is in a state of complete neglect, exactly the sort of place people describe as a magnet for dark forces. So is this the unsettled spirit of the teacher who once lived and died here? Or could something else be going on? Let us know what you think. A man was showering at his Airbnb rental when he suddenly heard the front door swing open.
While I was in the shower. Hello? What the fuck?
Caught off guard, he jumped out, snatched up his phone, and hit record.
Hello?
To his disbelief, the door was wide open. The second he called out hello, it slowly swung shut on its own. But that wasn't the end of it. The door continued opening and closing by itself, which made the whole thing even more disturbing.
It's just me, guys, in this Airbnb. So it's literally just me out here. I'm in Indio, and literally no one else is around. It's literally all empty. I usually don't post content like this.
Despite being rattled, he worked up the nerve to go check it out. But peering outside revealed absolutely no one. Still not ruling out the possibility of someone messing with him, he went through the whole house and scoured the area around it.
What was that? Hello? You guys are there? Hello?
Then completely out of the blue, another bizarre noise caught his attention. He looked everywhere, even ventured outside to make certain, but came up empty-handed once again.
I'm gonna get the fuck back inside. 'Cause I don't know what's going on ahead. I don't know what's going on out here, guys. I'm definitely gonna check out my B&B if this keeps up, y'all. I'm dead ass gonna just hop in my car.
At that point, he'd had more than enough. Shaken to his core and desperate to feel safe, he rushed back inside. So what do you think was actually going on inside that Airbnb? What you're about to watch strongly implies these beings may not originate from our world. A TikTok creator going by Ashley89, known for sharing wholesome content featuring her family, suddenly posted this deeply unsettling clip out of nowhere. Pay close attention to what unfolds. A hazy, smoke-like yet oddly substantial figure was observed drifting across her backyard. This took place at 5 in the morning while she and her husband and kids were all sound asleep inside. The apparition entered from the right side of the frame, made its way toward a vehicle parked on the left, then simply disappeared into nothing. It stands as one of the most striking and well-documented sightings of this kind of mysterious presence. The entity visible here and in the 2 clips that came before it appears to be the very same figure that has been reported lurking around multiple residential properties. Certain theories propose that these beings originate from a separate dimension entirely, and that they harness some kind of unidentified force to compress air molecules together, giving themselves a stable, recognizable shape within our physical world. Because those air molecules are packed so tightly, the figure shows up as a faint, semi-transparent white form, even though its actual consciousness is said to exist somewhere beyond our dimension. So what do you make of all this? Late one night, he's jolted awake at around 3 in the morning by a series of loud noises and immediately grabs his phone to document what's happening.
Raza, son las 3 de la mañana, se siguen escuchando muchos ruidos allá afuera. Quieren abrir la puerta, raza. ¿Qué está pasando? Ay, Dios mío. Ay, Dios mío, líbrame del mal. Desde que compré ese espejo, raza.
Without warning, the table violently lurches across the room, sending him scrambling straight back to his bedroom. Then strange sounds start emanating from beneath his bed, and he manages to catch it on camera.
Rasguñando abajo de la cama. No hay nadie, raza, a la madre. ¿Qué rollo?
Something resembling an arm is clearly visible under the bed, yet when he checks the area, there's absolutely no one around. A couple of nights later, at 1 in the morning, the light switches on by itself, and that's when he spots it.
Mañana acaban de prender la luz de la sala. Desde que compré ese espejo están pasando todas las cosas raras. A la madre. ¿Qué fue eso? Eso se está saliendo de control ya.
A dark, shadowy figure edges out from around the corner, just watching him before vanishing the moment he moves toward it. When he checks what's behind that corner, there's no trace of anyone whatsoever. Perhaps he should think twice before bringing mysterious objects into his home, and let's hope we get some follow-up updates soon. Kay is a TikTok creator whose feed is about as ordinary as it gets. The occasional snapshot, a life update here and there, nothing out of the ordinary. But her day job is anything but routine. She works as a nurse in the high-security lockdown ward of a hospital, a place that already carries a certain unease once the lights dim at night. Then one evening, she posted a piece of CCTV footage that left her genuinely rattled. The camera was trained on a darkened lockdown room that had been shut down and vacated for the day. No patients, no staff, no reason whatsoever for anyone to be in there. And yet, as the recording continued to roll, something emerged from the darkness. Keep your eyes fixed on those shadows as this plays out. Right from the opening seconds, whatever is inside that room looks deeply off. A pale, vaguely humanoid shape can be spotted lurking just behind one of the support columns, almost as though it's deliberately concealing itself. But the more you study it, the more unsettling the whole thing gets. The figure seems impossibly tall, with elongated limbs that move in a rigid, jerky fashion, completely unlike any normal person making their way through a hospital room. Then there's the moment that makes the footage even harder to rationalize. A sudden burst of light appears to radiate from the figure itself, with no obvious source. Nobody has managed to explain where that light came from, or how something with such strange, distorted proportions could have entered a secured medical facility to begin with. So was this K catching an intruder somewhere they absolutely should not have been, or something far stranger picked up by a camera inside a locked hospital ward? Drop your thoughts below. The next clip comes from a man named Tad, a car enthusiast based out of St. Petersburg, Florida. His channel is primarily focused on capturing cinematic footage of his C7 Corvette. On the evening of December 21st, 2025, he found himself driving along a deserted access road through a business park that had already shut down for the night. His goal was simple. He wanted a quiet, secluded spot to film his car, somewhere off the beaten path where he could open up the engine without disturbing a soul. What he ran into that night, however, was something he never could have anticipated. Pay close attention to what unfolds.
What the freak was that? Oh my God! What the freak was that?
As he makes his way down the darkened road, he suddenly spots a tall, shadowy figure moving in the direction of his vehicle. Panic takes over instantly, and he slams the gas pedal, tearing away from the scene as quickly as possible. The dash cam facing the road ahead doesn't pick up much detail, but the interior camera tells a different story. A dark humanoid shape is clearly visible just outside the car as it speeds past. Tad was left visibly shaken by the whole experience, and he has absolutely no plans to go back to that location to figure out what, or who, was standing there. So where do you stand on this one? What would your reaction have been if you were behind that wheel? Is this a genuine paranormal encounter caught on camera, or is there a more rational explanation lurking somewhere? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Does it smell in there like something rotting? The only way he could describe it was the unmistakable odor of something dead. He spent a full hour searching the place, but never managed to track down the source. That's the smell he couldn't get rid of. He ended up calling in 2 separate contractors for assistance. The first couldn't locate the origin, while the second pointed the finger at the sewer line. They swapped out the old pipe, but even after the repair work was done, nothing changed. After reaching back out to them once more, their focus shifted to a section of the home's foundation where several bricks appeared darkened, as though water had been slowly working its way through. As they started pulling the bricks away, they uncovered something deeply unsettling hidden behind the wall. Shaken by what he was looking at, he grabbed his phone and filmed what he'd found to send over to a friend.
There's a train wreck down here. When they decided that wasn't it, they opened up the wall here and didn't find any dead animals, but they did find that, and that's not even the weirdest part. These are fucking teeth, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I'm just tripping.
Was it an old horseshoe and a collection of teeth? It's a disturbing find that's clearly gotten under his skin and left him rattled. The energy inside the house seemed to shift once those objects were taken out. Not long after, he noticed his dog planted at the basement door, barking non-stop at something down below. It was behavior so out of character that he felt compelled to go and see for himself what had the animal so worked up.
What's wrong, Joe? There's nothing in there for you, buddy. Come on. Joe.
Here we're looking at the basement door, and there's a small glass sitting on a table near the top of the frame. At first, you could easily write it off as nothing more than a weird coincidence. That changed the moment he took a harder look at his footage. The glass appeared to slide across the cutting board entirely on its own, drifting slowly toward the edge before dropping to the floor with a heavy thud. Ever since then, he's been picking up on unexplained sounds throughout the house nearly every night, along with catching fleeting glimpses of shadows drifting past the corner of his eye. One evening, while recording himself playing guitar, he propped his phone up to document the session as he played along with the metronome. But when he reviewed the footage afterward, something lurking in the background sent a wave of dread straight through him. There in the space behind him, something gradually crept into view from around the edge of a wall. A pale face slowly materialized, appearing to stare directly at him before silently pulling back out of sight. He was reportedly the only person in the house that night, which makes it all the more difficult to rationalize. Whatever showed up behind him seemed to linger just long enough to be captured on camera before vanishing without a trace. Hoping to gather more evidence or finally land on some kind of explanation, he mounted a security camera inside his home, and it didn't take long before that camera picked up something just as disturbing. As everyone stepped outside, the dog suddenly stopped dead in its tracks, once again locking its gaze on the basement door. Under normal circumstances, this dog would bolt outside without a second thought, eager to run around. This time, though, he wouldn't budge, eyes fixed on the basement as if something down there had a hold on him. It took Evan bribing him with a handful of treats before he finally agreed to head out. Moments later, a loud crash rang through the house. One of the books on the shelf had launched itself onto the floor within less than a minute of them leaving, as though an unseen hand had hurled it across the room. When he came back inside, he spotted the book right away, but what really got to him was the moment he realized which book it was, his Bible. Trying not to read too much into it, he picked it up and set it on the table. But the very next day, his security camera caught something that's genuinely hard to watch. If you look carefully at the Bible, it appears to spontaneously ignite, a small flame flickering to life on top of the cover. The fire spreads slowly across the surface of the book before eventually dying out on its own. That footage raises one very obvious question. How on earth does a book just catch fire by itself? Whatever has been unfolding inside Evan's home seems to have escalated well beyond creepy and into something outright dangerous. If these incidents keep up, his security cameras may be the only way to document what's happening. Or better yet, he might just want to pack up, move as far away as possible, and never look back. This segment features a collection of videos posted by a TikTok creator who goes by the name Beard Dude, a man who earns his living as a groundskeeper at a cemetery. He claims that unsettling things tend to occur while he's working, particularly during the moments he finds himself completely alone. In the first video, he addresses what he suspects could be a spirit lurking in the area. Composed yet visibly on edge, he invites it to make itself known by pushing a door shut right in front of him.
Over there. I heard you moving around. Let me know you're here. Close that door. Yes, this is your cemetery, I know. I'm just trying to keep it nice for you. Keep it maintained and looking nice. Out of respect.
For a few long seconds, absolutely nothing moves. Then, after a brief moment of silence, the door begins to shift, slowly creeping closed all by itself. In a separate upload, he picks up on a distinct rustling sound coming from just behind a cement mixer. The noise sounds a lot like rapid footsteps, yet when he goes to investigate, the spot is completely empty.
So I'm hearing shuffling now. It sounded like it was behind the cement mixer. Fast footsteps or something that was back there. And clearly you can see there's nobody back there. So, not sure what that was. Gotta reach behind there.
A third video, recorded during a rainy afternoon, has him explaining that rough weather appears to crank up the paranormal activity around him, and almost immediately after he says it, something nearby shifts on its own once again.
So let's hope today is not one of those days. There's that thing. Holy f***. Yeah, that's just...
Whether there's a rational explanation behind it all, or something far less ordinary at work, it's hard to walk away without feeling at least a little unsettled. Most people strolling through downtown Orlando that evening gave no second thought to the trash can sitting outside a nearby restaurant. And honestly, why would they? It was just another piece of street furniture on a lively sidewalk, surrounded by people out enjoying their night. Security cameras were silently rolling the whole time, picking up conversations, foot traffic, and the ordinary pulse of city life. Then one man paused. He reached into the trash can, left something behind, and casually walked off. Nothing about it seemed out of the ordinary. The people around him kept on talking, completely oblivious to the fact that investigators would later zero in on those few seconds above everything else recorded that night. But that wasn't the end of it. Shortly after, the same man came back to that exact trash can. Orlando police would later identify him as Justice Fletcher. According to investigators, he had stashed a handgun inside before doubling back to collect it. What unfolded next caught everybody off guard. As Fletcher went to retrieve the weapon, police say it discharged without warning. The sharp crack sent nearby pedestrians scrambling in every direction as they tried to make sense of what they just heard. Thankfully, nobody in the immediate area suffered any physical injuries. Investigators say the bullet ended up striking the exterior wall of a nearby commercial building. Among the businesses affected was a Taco Bell where both staff and customers were present at the time. A manager later told reporters that the place had been packed when it happened, and looking back, he said everyone felt relieved it hadn't turned into something far worse. As detectives combed through surveillance footage, they began piecing together the timeline leading up to the discharge. Fletcher had reportedly been talking with a group of people before heading back to the trash can. Police also determined he had been drinking throughout the course of the evening and had allegedly dropped the weapon several times while moving around the downtown area. Then another significant detail surfaced. The firearm had been reported stolen. Investigators further established that earlier that same evening, officers had come across Fletcher at a nearby downtown hotel where he was issued a trespass warning and told to leave. Later in the night, officers spotted him again inside a downtown parking garage and tried to approach him. According to police, he slipped away before they could make contact, and he was not taken into custody at that point. Detectives recovered the firearm in the vicinity and continued building their case using surveillance video, witness accounts, and physical evidence gathered from the scene. A few days later, Fletcher was picked up by the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office on unrelated charges. Orlando police then announced a separate set of charges tied directly to the downtown incident, including discharging a firearm on public property, shooting into a public building, carrying a firearm while under the influence, resisting an officer, and additional offenses connected to the recovered weapon. For investigators, the surveillance footage turned out to be one of the most valuable pieces of evidence in the entire case, because it captured nearly the full sequence of events from start to finish. What makes the video so striking is just how unremarkable the early moments look. People gathered on the sidewalk, businesses humming along, the whole evening feeling completely routine. And then within a matter of seconds, everything shifts. Fortunately, no bystanders were hurt, but the incident stands as a sobering reminder that responsible firearm handling isn't optional, particularly in crowded public spaces where one reckless moment can put dozens of lives at risk. Lori is a London-based singer whose entire online presence revolves around her music and snippets of everyday life. She has zero history of engaging with anything paranormal. That's what makes what she posted one day so unsettling. She uploaded an old childhood clip of herself and her best friend hanging out in her bedroom, and she remembers clearly that the two of them were the only ones there. But once the video went up on Facebook, her followers spotted something lurking in the footage that left Lori completely shaken. In the clip, the two girls are messing around near a bunk bed, with Lori helping her friend try to climb up. Her friend keeps losing her grip, and just as she's about to topple backwards, a pale white hand suddenly appears from off to the side and catches her by the shoulders, steadying her before withdrawing. When the footage is zoomed in, the hand appears slightly pale but otherwise looks entirely human. Even so, Lori stands firmly by her account. She insists without any doubt that nobody else was in that room with them. In the footage that follows, a content creator going by the name Really Haunted posted a video on May 8, 2026, documenting what he describes as frightening poltergeist activity and a series of inexplicable events unfolding inside his home. In this particular upload, he says things escalated to such an extreme that he fled the house in the dead of night. He claims he had no chance to grab his phone, his wallet, or even his shoes, and wound up spending the remainder of the night outside, parked a short distance down the street.
Just had some banging on bedroom door. If I sound ill, I am. I've got flu again. I don't know why, but you've got me out of the bedroom again. I'm here. What do you want? What is it you want? What you banging that door for now? Whoa, I just seen like an energy ball like round there, then it looked like it shot up and then went into the bathroom. Did you just go into the bathroom? Can you show yourself? Can you show yourself as an energy ball? I seen you come in here, assuming it's not dust. You never want to do anything I say. Holy shit.
His cameras had been left rolling as he slept, set up in hopes of catching any unusual activity around the house. At some point in the early hours, he's jolted awake by loud banging sounds coming from the bathroom, but upon investigating, finds nobody there. He then calls out to whatever presence might be lurking in the house, and almost immediately the attic hatch begins violently swinging open and closed on its own.
Holy shit.
He retreats into his bedroom, hoping that staying put might settle things down, but it becomes apparent very quickly that his bedroom offers no real safety either.
Freaks me out bad, this. When I'm on my own, I despise being on my own. Please stop. Just had it again, like on the left. That shit me up then, the window. Like, why are you banging at the window when it's open? What the hell? What the fuck is going on? Like, there's just paper coming out at printer. Stop! I'm not taking you on, I'm like, I'm off.
Something slams hard against the bedroom window, and then a fax machine spontaneously begins spitting out blank pages, while his phone starts ringing over and over. Up until that point, you could maybe chalk some of it up to coincidence, but the relentless, violent banging is a lot harder to brush aside. Visibly terrified, he bolts out of the house, leaving his phone behind entirely. And yet, once he's gone, the security cameras pick up something even more unsettling. Something that makes it genuinely difficult to dismiss the idea that he might actually be dealing with real poltergeist activity. So where do you stand on this one? Is it the paranormal, or is there another explanation? In August 2025, a Reddit user going by the handle SatanWorker8777 had spent several weeks listening to strange sounds reverberating through their home. The first couple of times they dismissed it as the house settling, or noise drifting in from outside, but after it kept happening, they couldn't escape the gnawing sense that something, or someone, was there with them, maybe even deliberately making itself known. So they propped their phone up at the top of the staircase and let it record. Here's the footage that came out of that decision, footage that reportedly left them shaking. That's a serious amount of activity packed into a single recording. Multiple objects shifting on their own and doors slamming, all concentrated within that one tight space. Now, when paranormal investigators encounter this level of concentrated chaos, they tend to point toward what's known as a poltergeist haunting, a loud, disruptive, and sometimes physically aggressive type of entity that appears to feed off surrounding energy. What makes it even more unsettling is that this kind of disturbance is frequently linked to one specific person in the household, referred to as an agent, who may be unknowingly fueling the activity without any awareness of it whatsoever. There's also another explanation worth considering, that the entryway itself functions as a kind of spiritual choke point, a location where energies become trapped or continually pass through, which could account for why every incident seems to originate from that same exact spot. part of what lends Satan worker A-77 some credibility here is how they responded to skeptics. Rather than getting defensive, they calmly admitted the single camera angle was limiting and said they'd set up 2 cameras next time for better coverage. So what's your take? A classic poltergeist zeroing in on someone in that house? Or something else entirely? Drop your thoughts down in the comments. Setting up a home camera to monitor pets has become completely routine these days, but every now and then those little devices pick up something nobody bargained for. That's exactly what happened to one guy on a night out at his neighborhood bar. Nothing seemed out of the ordinary until his phone buzzed with an unsettling notification.
Transfer from Venmo. No.
His first assumption was that his animals were just moving around the place, but the moment he pulled up the live feed, he froze. There was a voice. He couldn't make out any words, but it was coming through the microphone loud and clear, far louder than anything he'd ever picked up from the surrounding apartments. Rattled by what he'd just witnessed, he confessed he simply couldn't bring himself to go back inside. As far as he knew, nothing was in that apartment but his pets, and whatever was making that sound. The person who uploaded this clip describes it as the single most frightening moment he has ever lived through. Late one night, he picked up on an unusual sound coming from just outside his home. He pulled up his security camera feed right away to figure out what had made the noise, and what he spotted standing right out front stopped him cold. Here's what the footage revealed. A pitch-black silhouette is visible in the center of the road, and it looks almost as though passing vehicles are driving straight through it, like the figure simply doesn't exist in the physical world. That was enough to push the man to head outside and see for himself, but what unfolded next shook him to his core. The instant he stepped out the front door, that shadowy form disappeared completely, gone in a fraction of a second as though it had never existed at all. He says the fear he felt in that moment was overwhelming, and to this day he has absolutely no explanation for what he witnessed. So what do you think it was? A spirit? Some kind of unknown entity? Or something else entirely? Drop your theories down in the comments below. From the moment Joey Chilton and his family settled into their new apartment, they've been plagued by strange, unexplained occurrences. Furniture and personal belongings seem to shift on their own without any logical explanation. Their baby boy's toys switch on and off randomly, and throughout the home they constantly hear doors and cabinet drawers opening and closing with no one nearby. Then one particular afternoon, Joey picks up on an unsettling noise coming from his son's bedroom. Committed to documenting whatever is haunting their home, he pulls out his phone and hits record. What he manages to catch on film is genuinely terrifying. He explains that he and his wife have been living in the apartment for around 6 months at this point.
Some weird things have been happening in our son's room. So I wasn't gonna record, but I actually came here to feed the cats. We have 2 cats. So I came over to feed them, and I noticed that in his room, my son's room back here, there's one of my cats, I can hear his toy being played. And it was not on before. It is playing right now. And I don't know why it's playing right now. I didn't leave it on. But even if I did leave it on, like, I'll turn it off. Even if I did turn it on, it wouldn't automatically play. You'd have to, even if I brush over the keys, it doesn't really go. So you'd have to really press the button and make it go. And it was not on, and it turned on, and I could hear it. And that's why I started recording. And now that I'm looking around, I was like, there's stuff knocked over. It's plants knocked over, fake plants knocked over. There's books on the ground. The wipes are on the floor. I don't know what is going on. And there is no one here. I'm here by myself. There's nothing here. Did you see that? Am I insane? Am I insane? Someone just walked by the window. And I will go out there and show you that no one is here. This door is locked. This is the door you were just looking at. This door is locked. There's nothing out here. Nothing out here. There's a closet door. This is also locked. I don't think we've ever opened that door. It's always been locked. Just the weird.
Bizarre things just keep happening. An electronic toy activates completely on its own, and as Joey scans the room, a peculiar shadow drifts across the balcony window. He goes to check outside and confirms there's nobody there and absolutely nowhere a person could conceal themselves. Worth noting, this window sits on an enclosed balcony a full 12 feet above the ground. There's simply no realistic way someone could scale the wall, pass in front of that window, and then vanish before Joey made it outside. Later that same night, a motion alert pings from the nanny cam set up in his son's room. He pulls up the footage and cannot believe what he's looking at.
Really closely. The rocking chair starts to move. It's in the corner. You can see it's very slight, but you can see the shadow kind of moving. It's rocking on its own. There's no one there. Everyone is at my mom's house right now. Everyone's at my mom's house. And then the wipes fly off the dresser. And then the hamper. The baby's hamper falls over. Like, what is going on? No one.
A rocking chair positioned in the corner of the nursery starts slowly swaying back and forth on its own, as though an invisible figure has settled into it. Moments later, a pack of baby wipes launches off the dresser and a hamper topples over onto the floor. Joey has since confirmed that the family had already arranged to relocate to a different apartment, and in the meantime, they've been staying at his mother's place. A user going by I Am Unforgettable uploaded a clip to their account in May of 2026, claiming they hadn't slept in 3 full days out of sheer terror after spotting something lurking inside their bedroom. That might sound like an overreaction at first, but once you see what they say was sharing that room with them, the fear starts to make a lot more sense. Judge for yourself what's going on here. Just behind the bedroom door, there appears to be a figure with long, dark hair slowly peering around the edge, seemingly keeping a close eye on the person filming from the other side of the room. It never fully emerges into view, but that brief, partial glimpse is more than enough to send a chill down your spine. Naturally, not everybody is on board with the story. There are viewers out there who think the whole thing was deliberately set up for the camera. Still, it's not hard to see why this footage spread so quickly once it hit the internet. Hopefully, whatever the uploader thought they encountered that night never made another appearance. So where do you land on this one? Was it nothing more than a well-executed fake? Or is there something genuinely difficult to explain going on? Drop your thoughts down in the comments below. Late one evening, Heather was out on her front porch with her husband and their 2 boys, sharing some ice cream together. That's when she spotted something that immediately made her blood run cold.
There's like little mosquitoes. They're kind of going on me. What? What did you say? What did you say, Mommy? I didn't hear you.
You gotta keep that open so it doesn't get all musty.
Can't tell me it's not good.
Barely able to get the words out, Heather murmurs, "She scares me." The rest of her family glances around, completely puzzled, unable to make out anything out of the ordinary. Heather would later describe watching what looked like a see-through woman in white, resembling a nurse straight out of the 1950s, drifting silently past the front of their home. She says the figure's face is something she will never,